What's poppin', y'all? The influence of the rapper is dead. That doesn't mean hip-hop is dead. That doesn't mean rap is dead. And that doesn't mean the XXL cipher is dead. So I sent out this tweet earlier today without much context. I don't feel like it needed much context, and that's what these videos are for. And I said the AMP cipher is about to surpass both XXL ciphers for this year in combined views in less than 5 hours. And it did just that. It's sitting at, well, when I screenshotted it, it was around 600,000 views in 2 hours. And both videos together, over a span of 4 days and 6 days respectively, had like 700,000. Right now, the AMP cipher has significantly more. First, we're going to go through, a 1.8 million views in 7 hours. That's insanity. And some people will say, oh, well, it's the XXL cipher. It's not good this year. Who was on it this year, etc. I don't think those are effective arguments because the XXL cipher as a brand, as a moment, as a statement itself is big enough that it should be, I wouldn't say it should be doing more numbers, but it would be expected for it to outperform streamers and content creators freestyling, especially when it's rappers that are on it. So it's their domain, music. It's a moment in a brand that happens once a year, and the brand, especially this part of the brand, has been going on, and it's legendary. It's legendary, it's classic, it's a moment almost everyone is looking forward to, or was looking forward to at one point. I would say I didn't even know that these things dropped until a couple of days later when I decided to look them up. I think this is a broader discussion because I've been thinking about this for a while. And while this moment isn't enough to dictate that, I said, if this isn't proof that kids value streaming personalities more than rappers now, I don't know what is. The reason why I say this is whatever's getting the most views, that's usually what kids are watching. Kids, early teens, late teens, maybe young adults. Like, look at Mr. Beast, biggest YouTuber. Grown men, grown women are not watching that for the most part, especially if you were grown when that stuff was coming out. You look at the video, you could try to watch the video. You click on a Mr. Beast video, and you're just like, dude, what the hell is going on? It's like Jake Paul and Logan Paul when they were doing their vlogs. Some of us, let's say you were above the age of 18, right? Even 17 maybe. You click on that video, and you're like, dude, what's going on? This is sensory overload. You're getting spammed with things. There's jump cuts every couple of seconds. It's moving so fast. You get a headache watching the thing. But these 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they loved it. Same thing with these rappers and streamers. When we were younger, rappers were what was cool. Like, yo, the rapper's wearing this. The rapper's this grand personality that we think is great. And fan bases were stronger for rappers. And rappers had more pull for views. And we could even see that as early as 2018. Like the stranglehold that XXXTentacion had on the game, that 6ix9ine had on the game, whilst these both were personalities, there was no streamer that had that. There was no YouTube personality that really, well, maybe let's say PewDiePie, sure. But my point is now, man, if most of these rappers get new rappers that young kids are listening to, right? We're not going to say Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, people that came out 10 years ago, Lil Uzi. Lil Uzi came out 10 years ago, man. Newer rappers. These guys go live, man, they're not pulling views. They do an interview, they're not pulling views. They're just not. And it's not because they're not lit, it's that their music is what people are paying attention to, is what these kids may like it, right? They find it on TikTok. They're like, oh yeah, this is a good song. Like, let's take Tommy Richmond, for example, right? Oh, I don't even know if he's completely a rapper, but musician, regardless. You think a Tommy Richmond interview is going to pull numbers? Let's be real here. And this is a guy that's got a smash hit song this year. It's not going to pull numbers because people care about the song more than they care about Tommy Richmond. That doesn't mean he's doing something wrong. As long as his music is doing the numbers, that's what matters. But people care more about personalities, streaming personalities now, because number one, they're seeing them all the time, every day. They hop on every day. They come home. They're watching TV. It's like Blue's Clues when we were kids. You watch Blue's Clues every day. You're like, damn, I know Steve. That's the homie, right? So with these kids, they're watching these streamers every day. They're entertained by these streamers every day. They feel closer to these streamers. So is it any surprise that, and keep in mind, these streamers have storylines. So back in the day when we would see, let's say, what was the collaboration? You guys remember Disney Channel? They had Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and what was the other one? That's So Raven? I think they combined them for an episode. It was That's So Sweet Life. Oh yeah, and Hannah Montana. It was called That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Man, Disney Channel was fire. So all three of these universes came together for an episode, and we also had Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents, I think, that came together. That was on Nickelodeon. And that was a big moment as kids. You're like, yo, these two worlds came together. That's what's happening for streamers. They see these two different groups of streamers coming together, or these crews of streamers, and each individual in AMP has their own big fan base. They come together. It's bigger than these rappers. That's why these rappers have to go there. Also, look at iShowSpeed. iShowSpeed, please just do me a favor and look up the guy's music. Look up the guy's music. He's got more views on certain music videos than successful rappers will ever have. Certain ones, right? Not all of them. And these rappers are also juicing their numbers, but even with the juice, like iShowSpeed has 1.1 million monthly listeners, and I don't even think the guy uploads to this. He's got a song with 77 million on Spotify. And I don't even know if he was the one that put the song on Spotify. And this guy doesn't even take music seriously. So they're constantly being fed streamers, or not being fed. They're consuming streamers more than they're consuming music. The music that they're picking up is because a streamer listened to it and bumped it, and they're like, oh, yo, Kai messes with this, and I kind of like this. Sure, I'm not saying they just adopt the opinion, but they're exposed to the music either via TikTok or via a streamer. That's mainly where it's coming from. And they're dressing like these streamers. They're using these streamers' slang. Is that not enough for you guys to understand where influence is coming from? Like Riz, what else? Oh, like all these different words. Rappers used to come up with these words. Or, let me not say that. Rappers used to get these words, slang. Some of them come up with it, but some of them from where they grew up. And then they would be broadcast on such a wide audience that other people would be picking up this slang, and it would spread throughout like youth culture. Now these words, like phantom tax, like dog, these words are like Zoomer words for an age group, and even I know what the hell they are. And they're coming from streamers, not from rappers. So that's another example. The fashion is another example I already said. The music, the cypher, it's kind of a piece of content, right? There's novelty to it. They've been doing this for a couple of years. But I absolutely love to see this. They're killing it. And these streamers deserve it. These guys are day in, day out, live streaming, entertaining people. They deserve the love and admiration that rappers took for granted for so many years. So now the thing is, how are you going to compete as a rapper? Because rappers used to be able to get away with mid music and just being like likable or cool, right? Like the whole mysterious thing that people try to do, which only works for a couple of acts. And part of the reason why it works for a couple of these acts, Playboi Carti being one, is because they've been in the game for 10 years already. Or in Playboi Carti's case, like let's put in 9 years. And he's had someone pushing him the entire time. At least in the beginning when it mattered. So their music is going to have to overcompensate. And their music isn't that great for the most part. Now, I think rappers are still going to be fine. It's just they're not going to have the cultural capital that they once had. That has shifted to streamers. And I wouldn't even say YouTubers, TikTokers. I would say it's directly in streamers because it's such real-time feedback that they're getting from the audience. Like the kids, like, yo, I just typed something in the chat and this person responded to me immediately. And he's entertaining me. And there's 50,000 people. And out of these 50,000 people, I was one of the people that got responded to. You just can't match that. So I'm happy to see these guys win. They don't seem to be using it maliciously, especially AMP. Like these guys, man, shout out to these guys, really. I don't know too much about like everyone. I know the basics, all right? Enough about them. I actually knew who Agent was back in the 2K days, even though I didn't even really play 2K. I just used to watch him when he was in Canada, I think. and he was in college. I think he was deciding whether to go full in on YouTube or leave college. I think he was a sophomore at the time. So seeing how far he's come, built this whole empire, congrats to him. But yeah, you guys got to pick up on some of these things, especially if you're a little bit older, and more importantly, if you don't want things to change, because we can't do anything about that. Things are going to change, and things have changed. So now for rappers, you got to think, why are rappers hopping on streams if they're what's cool? And just look at the numbers, like I said. Even with big platforms, right? Academics is a big platform. Breakfast Club is a big platform. No Jumper is a big platform. Even if a rapper that's hot and in demand for music, keep in mind, for music, hops on one of these platforms, it's not going to do that many views. And ask yourself, right? Let's just take the same person, Academics, right? What do you think would do more views? Academics sitting down and doing an interview with Lil Pump. Granted, Academics as an interviewer is not, let's say, a DJ Vlad. That's not what his brand is for. But it still illustrates my point. Or Lil Pump on Academic, or the clips, right? The cumulative views of the clips of Academics doing a live stream with Lil Pump. And Lil Pump is calling in on FaceTime or something, and they're talking back and forth and giving their opinions and just really shooting back and forth on things. The latter is going to get so many more views. Whereas back then, the artist being interviewed, there was a lot of demand for that type of content. But things have changed. People kind of want opinions a little bit more so than just a straight up interview. And a lot of these artist interviews were boring. Adam 22's were entertaining because he was interviewing some very, very entertaining people, or people that had a very unique story in that time. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Agreements, disagreements, feel free to voice them in the comments. I would like to be proven wrong in this case. It's just that any angle I've taken to try to prove myself wrong, I haven't been able to. And I've tried a lot. I always try a lot. Let me know if you guys disagree, why you disagree, and give me some evidence for why you disagree. It can't just be all vibes and feelings. Or just ask your younger siblings, your younger cousins. Like when we were a little bit younger, people thought like, yo, Playboi Carti, Uzi, right? These are the coolest people. Some people were saying that about these two artists like Osama Sun and Netspend, right? Take a look at the numbers that these guys are pulling. Or they're not pulling any numbers. And no, they're not going to be superstars. They're not going to be as big as Uzi and Carti. They're not going to be a tenth as big. But my point is, even for that niche of people that find those two guys really, really cool, it's so tiny. Meanwhile, for Uzi and Carti, it was like every kid. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. With AMP and Kai Cenat, it's every kid. Not just a very, 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 very tiny niche of kids. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.